art tour.
Yes.
So not live again. We're just live, period. And we're going to start the tour of several of these Cryptovoxels galleries with crypto art in them.
Yes, they're going to be art by the TXU collective. And yeah, so actually you can see their little voxel creatures on the other side of the parcel. Yeah, and Ilan is here with me, and we're gonna do the tour.
That's me over here.
Yep, that's
with
him.
My artwork on the floor.
Yeah, your artwork is on the floor. I think we're running out of wall space, and we're gonna start to put the things on the floor because the submissions are still coming. Yeah, I'm still waving.
So make sure we separate the talking from the moving.
So basically here by my side is the tour itinerary. Yeah, here. So we are gonna start at the first stop, and those are links. So basically if you put your pointer into them and you click, you're gonna teleport yourself to these places, and that's where we're gonna see the art. So shall we, let's see. I'm gonna tell people that we will start.
Somebody already teleported.
Oh wow, they're ahead of us. So I'm gonna teleport.
Teleported. Oh, I'm inside you.
Oops.
Yep, there we are.
So we should speak when I'm not moving the camera.
Which point do you want me to aim my camera at right now?
X copy.
Okay.
Yep.
There we go.
There we go. So, okay. So we have here some art by X Copy, and he's actually one of the pioneers, let's call it. What would you call him, a pioneer?
Yeah, he's one of the earliest artists working in the Ethereum crypto art space.
Yeah, exactly.
And he has kind of a previous reputation of, he had a Tumblr prior to this that was quite popular, in which he developed his style, he even had that style before that. It's a very, very kind of simple technical approach. It's really basically several, like a kind of glitchy, fast, hand-drawn animations that are all reflections on technology and some of the downsides culturally, in terms of the feeling of the internet, the dark side of the internet, and what it's doing to us as a culture. So in a way, it's sort of a zeitgeist kind of approach to talking about digital technology, digital culture, and how it's misused.
Well, I think my bubble speech, the cube is the 48 hours Neukölln cube is blocking it, unfortunately. So I think I have to move it, but I can't really change my clothes for this tour. But yeah, that's I can try for the next tour, but you can see it also in the chat. But I'm kind of just typing, so because some people don't have the audio. I stop talking when you move.
Yeah.
So yeah, some people don't have the audio, so I'm typing and then they can follow the tour. But yeah, that was a very good explanation, I think, of Xcopy. And also what Ilan shows is that if you click on those images, they are tokens, and then you can see the information about it. Maybe you can press the Z so we can see the animation with more detail.
Let me zoom out a bit. Hold on.
Yeah.
Stop talking now so we can.
Yeah.
I can't even. Let's just focus in on this one because I like this one a lot. Oops. Yeah.
Yeah, so now you can see with more resolution if you zoom, if you press the Z, for animated images.
Or any image for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
So if I click on it, then you can see the information. It's called We Work Boy. Minty Mouth Free Wi-Fi.
Oh, yeah.
And it's on Super Rare. And it was last sold for 3 ethers. Which is, how much is that?
No, 4 ethers.
4 ethers.
I think 1 ether is about 200 euro or so.
So it's about 600 euros.
No, it's 4 ether, 800.
800 euros.
Yep.
Yeah, as you can tell, I'm not a mathematician, so forgive me.
Cool. cool.
I'm just kind of, maybe just my brain is canceled out because of looking at this image by Xcopy.
Yeah, I have some people heard.
I think as a kind of prelude, we can talk about this larger piece. I think we just need to move on, but this particular piece that he did is for a platform called Async, which is a programmable art platform where the artist creates one piece that encompasses many little different layers, and when basically when the art can change over time based on what people want to see. So if you have control over a layer, the layer might have several different states, and the owner of that layer can change the states by initiating a transaction in which the state of the layer is changed. So this reflection on Zoom culture is each one of these little squares here it has different states in it. Well, there's some more of examples of this on the tour, but I wanted to just start off with that so you get an idea and can think about it.
The TXU totem in the
No, I was going to have that for later, but
for later.
I was just priming people. I think we can move on to blackbox.art now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to move. So, a member of TXU, a very treasured member of TXU, is blackbox.art Sparrow, who works a lot with artificial intelligence or GANs. And part of her exhibition today are these color pieces that she produced. Description here by Sparrow. There's a description here by Sparrow, who is also known as blackbox.art. And my daily practice is exploring color. These are spontaneous impressions of the feelings color can evoke. I'm just going to put my camera in the position so you can see it. Personally, I really respond to this sort of minimal approach to composition and color and form. I always think of someone like great painters from the sort of last century, like Rothko and Klein. But it doesn't really matter to me who made them. I think for me, like there's a sort of, I have this very intuitive sort of response to looking at these kinds of images, and especially in a group like this, it's really very it's very meditative for me to look at them.
Yeah, that's true.
And there are other people in the TXU collective who use GAN work. We will go to those. We will show those soon. And I guess I want to emphasize the idea that if you might think that artificial intelligence art, well, is sort of generic looking, you could argue that if you want. But actually, the artists in TXU in particular all kind of imbue their own sensibilities in the work that they produce with this kind of technology.
Mm-hmm.
So just something to think about as we go through the tour.
Yeah, well, the parcel here has a basic exhibitions. Here is the black box colors and Xcopy, but also we have one piece by Sersta Serena and one piece by Mattia that are here. But they have their own larger exhibitions. We're going to go, and I think. But what is the next stop in our tour?
Well, Sersta is the next piece we're going to look at here.
Okay.
I mean, in this gallery anyway.
Okay.
Here is the work of Sersta, another member of our group. Biotoma series. Would you like to talk about this series a little bit, Lenore?
Yeah. I think she actually sent a little explanation about this, and it's about exploring technologies without forgetting nature. So she has a series of kind of human figures in it, but also other things more connected to biology. And this is actually has not been tokenized yet. So basically she shared with us her future art. I don't know if, I think they're already finished, Maybe she's gonna add some more to it. I'm not sure, but she hasn't released them yet. So it's a little bit of a preview into the Biotoma series that we have here. It's like a sneak peek, actually, exclusive for the tour.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things I really love about her work is that it's interpretations of the physical form, human form, but they're really interpretations, and she takes really wonderful liberties with stretching bodies out in different ways to fill the frame. It's a really magnificent work done with a lot of love, and it also reflects her sort of love of nature and how we fit into that as human beings. Mm-hmm. So every one of these works of hers really is something very refined that it always in some way reaches out to that point in my mind. It's a circling back, as it were. Yeah. So let's move along.
Where do you want to go?
So I just want to take a brief look at a piece by Matisse. We'll also see later on in this tour.
Yes. Well, you know what? This part has something hidden in it.
Oh, were we supposed to talk about that?
Well, we won't show where it is.
Okay.
We're just gonna say there is something hidden somewhere here.
All right.
And actually, something really nice. Mm-hmm. Is an artwork you can win. It was created by Marco Zubac. Mm-hmm. And he's gonna give it to whoever finds the secret hideout for it in this parcel. Actually, it's just the first person that finds it, because you can find it more than once, but the first to find will receive it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that in the chat too.
So while she's typing in the chat, I'm gonna again the figures that Yob made of the TXU collective. We are now 6 people in the collective, and these are all kind of representations, voxel representations of the members of the collective. And over here to the right is another async piece, which 5 members of the collective created together, the TXU totem. It's actually an idea we had this idea of collaborating on something where each of us would make different layers, and that would make the whole piece, and then they could be changed by the owners. It was actually Serste who came up with the idea of the totem, and we all sort of did our own interpretations of each section of the totem. So each token, part of the totem has different faces, and each artist did a different face, and also different backgrounds. People did different backgrounds, different foreground elements and background elements were added. For example, the burning airline is mine, and the fox the fox belongs to Sparrow. This sort of dragon is Serste, and I think the background painting is Serste. The skull is mine. The cat is Sparrow's. There's unfortunately in this particular rendering of the piece, there's no Mattia, or I don't think there's even Oficinas in it. But you can go and check out async, and you can see different versions there over time because they keep on changing.
Yeah. Shall we move on? Because,
yes.
Yeah,
we don't have a lot of time. Sorry. Just,
So let's go
low and slow.
Number 2, right? And,
hold on, I gotta bring up the thing.
And people can teleport to me if they're in Cryptovoxels.
Or you can follow me because I'm also going there. Or
teleport to Ilan as well. Yeah, and
here we go.
You going? I'm gonna teleport to you, Ilan.
Boom!
Oops.
Boom!
Let's see. Am I
so.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you appear like right in front of the person.
I scare people with my avatar. You can't. I'll just so people know, like, my avatar is this thing. It's so big that it scares people usually when they first see me.
Oh man, yeah.
I won't talk more about that right now because it's not about me. The TCBA gallery is the
Wait. Yeah.
Thoreau Center for Blockchain Arts,
Yep.
which was established by by a TXU member, Oficinas TK, and there are other parts of the gallery which contain artworks by other artists, but this is his collection of artworks. He's definitely, besides being a TXU member, is also just one of my favorite blockchain artists. The work is always somehow connected to some other aspect of art history and art making. He works with cyanotypes. He does physical works as well. His digital work, it just kind of blows my mind, because when you look at a lot of digital artwork, especially if it's 3D, it tends to have a lot of things going on, and his work just goes the other way completely in terms of thinking about how to make images. It's really about the image and the simplicity of the image. So here, for example, a lot of colors. So here we have some vegetables and some fruit, which harkens back to, like, sort of, if you're familiar with art history, Cézanne, for example. Another one of favorites is the skull. This is a cyanotype piece, and just the layering of the textures has a really powerful quality to it. Dark, but not depressing, I would say. There's also something like photo.
No, I think it's like also connected to the still life.
Right.
And it's funny because actually in Portuguese we call still life dead nature.
Mm-hmm.
And he is from Portugal.
So that would be correct.
Yeah, so if in his native language, these are dead natures.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that explains actually the skull showing up in the still life.
Mm-hmm. I also, there's an element in which these things look like photographs, but you're constantly reminded that it's not a photograph, that it's actually a digital kind of representation of of something that looks like a photograph. And it's actually these kind of levels. There's subtle levels that make you realize that what you're looking at is an illusion. Before we go on, just one piece that actually has another artwork inside of it. This gold apple, and in the background there's a piece by another artist I love a lot called his name is Max Osiris, and so this is in a way a homage to the artist Max Osiris inside the work of Oficinas TK. It's basically that he put the texture, used a texture of the artwork as a texture in the environment. It's really a beautiful piece, and I know that for sure that Max Osiris is a fan of this particular work.
Okay.
And the last thing, his work on async on its different states. I think there's maybe like only 2 layers. You could change the background layer and the foreground layer.
Okay. Yeah, it looks really interesting.
I find a lot of peace in this work, like, for myself.
Well, did you notice that his voxel character is actually holding an apple?
Yes, that's true.
If you go back to the
Yes.
TXU voxel peoples, you will see
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So shall we move to the
Yeah. Just I want to shout out to Shortcut, who's on the tour with us, and he's also, I would consider him a friend and a good artist, local, as in also here in Germany. Thanks for joining us on the tour. Now we move on to the next item.
what is the next one? It's Mattia, right?
It's Mattia, yes.
Okay.
Who's carrying the flag? Is that also Shortcut? Oh no, that's Pixels. Okay.
I'll put the link here on the chat so people can also click.
All right. Loading to the next location. So here we have generated artworks by Mattia C, Mattia Product, however you want to call him. It's part of my own parcel. I came up with this it's kind of a collaboration between Mattia and I. We've had several of collaborations over the years. The most that I've known him, which is almost 2 years now. No, a year and some months that I know Mattia. But he is also a member of the TXU collective. He actually initiated the first gathering, I would say, of Oficinas TK and I, and we produced a work together based on an idea by Oficinas. And this particular work is a bunch of also artificial intelligence based, I guess, generations, where Mattia took, I call these Rorschachs, because they look like Rorschachs to me. But he took the sort of pattern he produced his stamp works, which is kind of his staple, his kind of thing that he does, and put them through the play form to get different renditions of these patterns. And I thought there was I had just purchased this plot. It was one of the last plots to be sold on, and I just was inspired by his work, and I just had a vision that would be completely immersed in this experience with the mandalas that he created. So I highly recommend that if you're here with us, I'm going to do this for you now. You can see the experience of looking into the whole world. It's a world of these patterns. I think it's really beautiful. And he and I based on a video called Rorschach Redemption.
Oh yeah, that's true. They did a collaboration.
Yeah.
It was a video shot in Cryptovoxels, right?
Yes, using a screen capture of my character moving through this space using music that I had composed for it. So it's there's so many levels to things where everything is media, and you can make media out of all of that everything. And that was pretty fun. And the spontaneity of all of this is also great. Just picking up the pieces, seeing what works, putting them together. Yeah, it was really special. It's also, when I assembled this piece there, as I was building up the space, people would come by and just sort of trip out, and we would have conversations and possibly lead to other collaborations. So yeah, it's just saturated in creativity. So I'll move out of it a bit now. With this?
So of the experience, because the next stop we can actually walk to.
Yes, we're right next door to another plot that I own. You think we're ready yet?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm going to stop talking, and then I'll walk over to next door. Oh, the man with the big head.
You're pressing something.
Yeah. VJ Andrew is a good friend. We got him into crypto art, and his work is all based on various versions of his interpretation of the Pope, whom, as you might guess, not a big fan of the Pope. But they're really funny, and he's been doing these for quite a while, and I feel like this is the perfect place for him at the outside of my gallery.
Okay.
So the next exhibition is, I remember who we mentioned before, Cerste, another Italian artist. We have 2 Italian artists in the TXU group. And she did a series of portraits of leaders. And I saw these pieces, and I thought they were incredible in expressing how some of us feel about these people. And I decided to fill my gallery with them. So,
yeah, it's a world, right? right? It's not for sale.
No. Well, what I'm referring to now, some of them are tokens in some way, but these are not tokens. These are just images, high quality, nice, pretty images to be in here. And we also earlier on I added these mounds of poop and put these little flies over them so that it's nice and fragrant in here. That it represents the fragrance, the experience. And later on, I actually took that same poop model, and put them on the faces of these people. There are several. And is a golden toilet.
Oh yeah.
Which I have for this experience. And inside is a leader, world leader. So if you want to take a dump on their face, you are invited to do so in the golden toilet. So
this experience, I have to say, yeah, there you go. It's quite an intense experience to be here in this plot. It's just a mixture of the color, the faces, the flies around. I feel a bit oppressed here, and I guess that's how people feel under these leaders.
Well, I mean, maybe some people enjoy this experience, and that's a different story.
That's true.
I'm open to interpretations.
That's true, and that's what's beautiful about art, that people can see a reflection of themselves, the world, and just, I don't know, crazy random things as well.
All right, I think I want to make one other note here. That
yes.
There's a curator's note, which is mine. It says the exhibition goes down when they do. So if these people are no longer doing what they do in office, etc., then this exhibition will terminate. And if you want them to stay, then the art stays, and that's the way it's going to be. So
okay,
that's the way it's going to be. Anyway, there it is. So, who is next on the tour?
We
have.
It's you.
It's me.
You saved yourself for last.
I saved myself for last because we're going to jump to that gallery now.
Okay.
The last one. And here we are. This is the Make It Beautiful gallery. That's all right.
There you go.
What's ocular delusion? So I'm really kind of not that big about promoting my own work, but at some point I decided that it was necessary to do something about that. So the series of works that you see here are contract. Well, sort of. They all fall into the Make It Beautiful name. And they're all hand-drawn artworks originally, be it starting out on paper and pencil and paper or marker and paper, or using a tablet like a digital pencil, digital input tool like a pencil, or not Wacom tablet, but I use an Apple Pencil to do my drawings on the iPad. The works on this side come. It started out on pencil, it was actually black marker on paper. For actually the description is on the left, but I'll just briefly go into it. That they were created as black on white drawings, a whole series of them that were sort of like expressions or reflections on the rise and fall of empires, particularly the Austro-Hungarian Empire, or just the Austrian Empire, or particularly the Habsburg Empire, which I've always had a sort of fascination with. Each of one of the works I took and then I made it kind of color version. Some of the earlier ones are animated, but I kind of, after a while, the pieces really just had to be static. So I think all of these are ones that are still available. And on the other side are that, but something else.
Someone Someone's calling.
Calling. Are pieces that I've created strictly digital with a tablet called Make It Beautiful. Very much in a way in which I don't really have a plan. I just start shading forms in, and after I start to get some of these forms in, more forms form, and it's I think there's something. It's more like a plant growing than an actual like I'm going to draw a clown. That's in the center. There is.
Yeah, that's
multi-edition. I designed and proposed if people bought the NFT, then I would use the money that they provided to print stickers. And actually, this NFT has many editions still available, not that many. And if you buy one and you send me your postal address, I'll send you some stickers. But the sticker printing, like actually, the amount of money that came in was a lot, and so I was able to print a lot of stickers. So I'm really glad to have so much of that available to share with
well,
people.
you know, if you run out of stickers, you can still buy NFTs with cryptocurrency, and then you can use that to print more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I like it when things have this connection between the virtual and the physical. So make art. Like a physical artwork, and then they make it digitalized,
right,
and then put on the blockchain, right?
So
this is the opposite. You did it digitally,
right?
Then you put on the blockchain. You received the cryptocurrency, and you used that to make it physical. So it kind of went the other way. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, I quietly do weird things.
And a lot of these stickers you can. So people who move around, you know, doing for other places in the festival, they might very well want stickers.
The other point that I like to make is once those NFTs are sold out, that effectively retires the sticker from being printed. And if I decide to make more stickers, I will design a new one and do it the same way. I think it's like a nice way to have a project, like have sort of a lifetime of a project, you know, that it's digital sales. I mean, they could still people like that, but then you won't get a sticker out of it. One more thing that I like to point out about this is the walls. I didn't want to because the paintings are themselves already, and I wanted people to see at the works. But I wanted them to see the environment around, but I don't kind of create some kind of idea that it was a particular space. That was a way of sort of gradiated color fields that the illusion that you're in a foggy
people can just add.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
so nice.
It's really nice because when you look at this on right, you can which you angle you actually can't really. But very much, for example, how like in a mist to me is beautiful. So I love this misty, and I'll be going to swap out works, make it beautiful works, when the parts of Empire are also it's going nowhere. All right.
So we'll go back to the starting of
back to the home. Home. I'll go back to the crypto marathon class.
So yes, let's go back.
What?
I'll just teleport to Elon. It's the easiest way. There you go.
Yob.
Hi. Yeah.
So,
Broken for you.
inside Twitch.
Anyway.
That's okay.
It worked once.
It worked yesterday when it worked yesterday with when I was doing.
To figure out
when I was doing the tour with.
Yeah, because it's really nice. You know,
we have an error on Twitch.
Oops.
Why?
No, it's
it's
fine.
back.
It may be glitchy.
Okay. Thanks to everyone who.
You know, we should.
Oh right, we have to plug the next thing.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have. Yeah.
Pick it up, hold
Thanks,
still.
Karen.
Sorry, Karen.
We can't move and talk at the same time. It's too much.
It's too much technology.
Yeah, but I don't know if anybody found a secret gift.
Did anybody find the secret gift?
I don't know. Let me ask in the chat.
Did anybody chat? Oh yeah, someone's in the chat. Which is one person though.
Oh well.
No,
So-
well.
So
Why?
his parcels.
Okay.
Yeah, I told it in the chat. And if you found it yet, I can find it. And,
Yeah.
And it's an artwork for free, and has another artwork inside. And if you make it into a paper toy, you get some special.
Yeah.
It's Marco's own, and you can use it. So that's kind of cool.
Marco has a lot to offer.
Yeah.
Tea.
Okay. So I think that was it.
All right. Groovy. Thank you, everyone. Coming up next at 6 o'clock
Yeah.
is the TXU Artists Talk, where we'll be discussing our next collaborative piece
Okay.
that we will be doing. It's going to be through Zoom. We'll get to hear how we talk about making new art pieces as a group.
Well, I mean, you can, but you can watch on Twitch.
Yeah, people. Well, actually, I think the Zoom will be closed, right? So
What do you mean that they would come here in person for the festival?
that was the original idea.
That didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, pandemic. So we're doing it
I like that. Like
in VR.
Yeah, pandemic.
Oops, button somewhere.
Who was that?
Okay. Anyway, yeah, they're gonna be. You can watch it on Twitch. You can actually to the poll and the Twitch screen and watch from there.
There was a noise. I heard a noise.
Okay.
Sploop!
Okay, that was it.
All right. I think someone in the corner. So, all right. Bye. Point shark.